Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to my channel. My name is Chad Royer, and the name of the channel is What's Up with Chad Y. Royer. And I'm here to discuss my journey as a cancer patient as I am battling multiple myeloma. And I want to thank everyone who is joining or watching for the first time, or maybe you've watched a few times and haven't done so. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please turn on your notifications so you can find out when more videos are coming. And if you're interested in donating to my cause, you're free to do so. We have a GoFundMe that is under my name. Now, let's get into where we are right now. March. March happens to be developmental disabilities awareness month, as it is also multiple myeloma awareness month. I found this out just recently, and I'm just sharing this with you all. And what you may come across in future videos, a little did you knows or fun facts about multiple myeloma. As we go forth, last week we discussed my journey as an autism dad simultaneously with being a cancer patient. This is the second part of the video. There might even be a part 3, but let's get into it. What did I need to change with my interactions with my son who has a disability? Not a question that you would think of having your firstborn or having any of your children unless something materially changes. So one of the things that I can tell you is the way I speak to him, the way I react to him, the way I respond to him, the way I advocate on his behalf. Those are things that I had to learn how to change. For one, you hear the saying, if you met one person with autism, you met one person with autism. And what that simply means is not every person with autism is the same. They have some similarities, but not all are the same. In fact, many of them are very different. So in my case, communication was a major challenge as far as speaking to him speaking back to me, him understanding what I'm saying, or me knowing if he understands what I'm saying, he being able to express what he wants to say in order for me to understand, or even simply responding to what I'm trying to communicate, albeit verbal or nonverbal. What are some things that I had to change with my interactions with other adults? Some people are understanding and others are not. Some people honestly don't know. Some people know. Some people are aware. Some people care. Some people don't. And it's up to a person like myself, who actually is a parent of a child with autism, to be able to answer that question when that question comes along. So oftentimes I'm asked about my experience. I'm given, thank you for what you're doing. I'm so sorry to hear. If you need help with anything, let me know. And I would get a lot of questions about things that I would need or challenges that I have. You know, those things are forever evolving. They're forever evolving, even to the point where it comes to figuring out the food that he wants to eat, the activities that he wants to do, whether his stomach is bothering him, or anything of that nature. Or what else did I need to change with my interactions with adults? I can break it down even further. Sometimes I'm not able to have interactions with adults because of my situation. So many responsibilities fall into place as an autism dad. So I'm taking care of myself, but because he's my son, I am obligated to taking care of him and his needs. Very often, his needs will have to come first before mine, even if it means that I would skip breakfast, or I would avoid going to the store, or I would just have to run out the house wearing something that doesn't match, or not being able to do a leisure activity that I had planned for. There are quite a bit of sacrifices that I am forced to make, but also sacrifices that I do on my own. That's my son right there in the kitchen. As far as dealing with other adults. And I can go on and do a 3-page paper on this. But let's go even further. Let's talk about common expectations as an autism dad and a cancer patient. Some people may respond, whether they tell you or not. It's not my issue. I have nothing to do with it. I don't care. I don't know anyone who has autism. I don't know anyone who has cancer. It doesn't happen to me. It's not in my family. I don't care. They might see a sign. They might walk by. They might see a commercial. They might change a channel. They might see an ad. They might ignore it. Someone might speak to them in the street. They might just act as if they're not there. Very common, especially when it comes to people you do not know. People from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, you name it. Not everyone understands the mission or the issue because they have not been in a situation to have it firsthand or third hand. So let me just take a quick time out. Thank you. Thank you. You're doing a good job. All right. Right. So back to what I was saying. Not everyone understands. So if I use myself as a real example of having heard of autism, but not knowing what it really is or was before my son was diagnosed with autism, that's probably the best example. Because the only thing I knew about autism was how to spell it. Being straight up and honest. Didn't know much about it. And it took a first-hand account for me to deal with a family member in order to get up to speed, to understand what it is, what it isn't, and then be able to explain, react, and respond to other people about it. So those who know me, and I explain the situation for the first time, or maybe they heard about it and reached out to me, I was able to give them a third-hand account, meaning my perspective to them of what's happening, what I need, what I don't need, what autism is, what autism is not, what are some of the roadblocks, what are some success stories. So that person's exposure to autism would be something that's explained to them based on one else's personal experience. And most people who know me know that I'm an autism dad. Not everyone will be around. And I'm not talking about, well, maybe you could say moving out of the area or passing away. But what I mean by not being around, not caring to be around or caring to be available. There are some people in the family, some friends, or the so-called circle, where once it's put out there that you have a child with a disability and you're doing what you can to do what you need for your child, even in your presence or absence, others can actually choose not to be around or just to be too busy just to check in. I can't tell you how many people who I've known that have dissipated from the circle because of that. And some of those people are not very many of them, but a few family members, very few. I don't want to say any names, few friends who I thought were friends, but it is what it is. It's something that I have to deal with because I'm obligated to taking care of my child, but everyone else is not obligated to taking care of my child. And that's the reality. And then those who are around is because they're around on the strength of the bond that we have with each other, our friendship, our kinship, our family, whatever you call it. It could even be a total stranger having a deep connection because they are in tune with how you are. Understanding the overall issue takes a long time. And the same thing goes with dealing with cancer. You hear about cancer, if you don't have it, or if you're not exposed to anyone who has it, cancer is just one of many diseases that affects people and can actually hinder someone's life or eventually terminate their life. But what if it happens to you that you have it or someone very close to you have it? Then the definition of cancer changes. It changes. You know why it changes? Because now cancer is linked with someone that you know. It could even be yourself. And now there's an extra reason for someone to do a little something or a big something because that person knows someone who has cancer. And that's how my experience has been perceived. So many of you who are finding out for the first time, I can assure you the shock value is real and it's nothing surprising. And it will still take time to really get to a point where you know it, you feel it inside out. Exceptions here and there, because some folks actually do know someone who has cancer, or if they've dealt with it personally, then they can end up being a resource to me. And I'm gonna drive home the sprints versus the marathon. We do a lot of things in life just to do it. It's done, it's finished. But there are things that hang with us almost forever, or typically forever for a long time. The autism diagnosis is one, because my child is here. And the cancer diagnosis is the other, because it happened to me. And I'm currently dealing with it right now as best as I can. What are some things that I've had to give up as an autism dad? A social life. Not to say that I was going out to the clubs or anything all the time, although in my youth and my young adulthood, I did. Going to the game, being able to wake up whenever you want to. Uh, if you have important appointments that you have to attend, that's regarding school, health, etc., etc., I would give that up just like any other parent would. Professional life. Some jobs will, or some occupations will not be very forgiving if you have a situation or a diagnosis, or if a family member have a diagnosis. And then some places actually do. But let's say in my case, real life story, I had to do pickup duty at a former job on, let's see if I remember the dates. I think it was Monday, Tuesday. So I worked Thursday, Friday. So I was given that accommodation. But then if I wanted to work on the days that I had the obligation, I couldn't, because I had to deal with the obligation of my child. So some sacrifices had to be made For some people, it's not working at all. For some people, it's doing overtime or not doing part-time or running our own business or working weekends only or not working weekends only. What are the things that I had to give up? I would say personal care at times, not to say that I'm totally ignoring myself, but sometimes I've skipped breakfast. Sometimes I haven't shaved. Sometimes I run out, do what I have to do. I forget to do the laundry. I forget to wash the dishes. I will very often have had to forget something in order to not ignore his need first and foremost. And I would do it again if I had to, because children are pretty much your priority. Hobbies. What did I used to do a lot when I didn't have kids? I went to the gym 6 days a week. I slept late. I worked a late schedule. Uh, Hung out Friday nights. Played video games. Uh, didn't really have a schedule to adhere to. Uh, there were some nights where we would go bowling on an evening, but ever since, I don't think we had a lot of bowling nights because guess what? We had to be available for my son. So just a typical example, and there's more. I'm just hinting on it. Social life, professional life, personal care, hobbies, traveling. Traveling. Not that I traveled a lot, but I definitely did a lot less traveling, unless it was with the family. Then that's different. Um, so many more things to tackle, and it looks like we're going to need a part three. We're going to need a part three for this one. So I want to thank you all for joining me on my channel, What's Up with Chad Y. Royer, as I navigate my journey as a multiple myeloma cancer patient. And in this case, I am discussing my position as an autism dad and a cancer patient. I thank you all for joining. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and please turn on your notifications so that you know when future videos are coming up. And if you would like to donate to the cause, feel free to look at my GoFundMe account. It is in my name because medical bills are expensive. Thank you all, and I bid you all a wonderful day. Take care. Cheers. And don't forget, Multiple Myeloma Awareness Month in March.